This is my maternal family tree. My grandfather, Jack Duffy, was what you might call an American success story. I've always found him inspiring, so I would like to start there. This is a picture of him when he was in the Merchant Marines during World War II. He was born in 1927, what was considered Indian Territory in Oklahoma. His mother was Leila Elizabeth Briley Duffy, and she was the Cherokee woman. Her mother was Tennessee Victoria Wright Briley. She was one of the native scouts with the Lewis and Clark expeditions, which is pretty cool. She married Charles Duffy. So their family grew up the poorest of the poor. They were called fruit tramps because they sometimes traveled around picking fruit and living in town. But Grandpa was very smart and very ambitious. He worked long hours and was able to save money and get some post-secondary education to purchase a used car lot. He married Winifred Snipes, whose father owned some farms and orchards in the area, and they started a family. This is them with my mother and my Aunt Jean at their home in Paradise, California. He became quite successful and was able to build his family a beautiful home in Paradise and a second in Nimshu, pictured here in a painting. This is my grandma's brother Ralph on a horse-drawn carriage. Grandpa was able to help his family financially. This is a picture of his mother in the early 40s. In 1962, he had a heart attack and was told by his doctor he needed to slow down. So he moved to the 160-acre working ranch that he had purchased in 1959. It was located on Shuswap Lake, BC. This property had become, in part, the family summer home. Grandpa would fly there every summer in his airplane. This is a picture of my mom and her cousin on Shuswap Lake during one of those visits. Grandpa moved the road that ran alongside the lake back and created lots on the lake shore that he was able to sell. And the revenue from that he used to purchase more property and create Engelmont Estate, which consisted of a campground, a marina, pictured here, and grew into a motel, golf course, and floating diner eventually. Over the next 10 years, 2/3 of those 300 lots sold, and Engelmont is a thriving community to this day. By the time he passed away in 2012, he owned homes on the Cayman Islands, right on the ocean in Washington, Arizona, and a small airport in Elma, Washington, besides his homes and properties in BC. My mother and father met during one of her visits home to Shuswap during the 1980s. My paternal grandmother, Jean Day, wrote and published a book called The First Homesteaders of the Shuswap, detailing the area's history, in which I discovered that her family was one of the first to settle in the area. In 1895, John F. Bischoff, who was my great-great-grandfather, settled his family near Scotch Creek with the plan to homestead and mine for gold. Apparently, he made the journey to Canada from Minnesota because 2 relatives had been scalped, and he felt his children would be safer if they relocated.